My friends, have you ever woken up from a dream so vivid, so real, that for a moment you forgot that the person in it was no longer here? Have you ever felt their presence so near that it was as if time had folded, as if heaven itself had brushed against your soul? I believe there are no accidents in the ways God speaks to us. When we dream of those who have gone before us, it is not merely the workings of a restless mind or fading memories. It is often something deeper, something divine. Perhaps it is a message from the Lord, a whisper from eternity, a reminder that love does not die and that heaven is not so far away. Tonight I want to speak to you about what it truly means when you dream of someone who has passed. Is it a sign? Is it a message? Or is it simply our hearts longing for something more? Before you dismiss it, before you write it off as just another dream, I urge you to listen. Because what if God is speaking? What if through these dreams He is calling you to something greater, to peace, to faith, to the assurance that this life is not the end? So I ask you, open your hearts, open your ears, and let us seek together what the Lord may be revealing through these moments when heaven feels near and eternity seems to whisper our name. My friends, I want to begin by telling you something that I believe with all my heart. God speaks to us in ways we don't always expect. Sometimes He speaks through His Word. Sometimes He speaks through the still, small voice in our hearts. And sometimes He speaks to us in the quiet of the night when our minds are at rest and our souls are open in ways they are not during the day. Dreams, my friends, can be more than just fleeting images. They can be a window to the soul, a place where the veil between this world and the next feels thinner, where God whispers truths we might otherwise miss. When you dream of someone who has passed away, it can feel so real, can't it? You wake up and for a moment it's as if they never left. You see their face, you hear their voice, you feel their presence so near. It brings both joy and sorrow in the same breath. And maybe, just maybe, you wonder, what does it mean? Is it just my mind remembering? Is it my heart longing? Or is it something more? My friends, I want to tell you that it could be all of those things. But don't dismiss it so quickly, because sometimes God allows these dreams to reveal something deeper, something we need to hear. You see, the Bible tells us that God has spoken to His people through dreams. He spoke to Joseph in a dream, warning him to flee with Mary and the baby Jesus. He spoke to Pharaoh through dreams, revealing what was to come. And my friends, if God spoke then, He can speak now. He can use anything, your circumstances, your thoughts, your prayers, even your dreams, to draw you closer to Him. But the question is, are you listening? Maybe you've been carrying something in your heart, something unresolved. Maybe you never got to say goodbye. Maybe there were words left unspoken, burdens left unlifted, forgiveness left unoffered. And now, in the quiet of the night, that loved one appears in your dream, not to haunt you, not to trouble you, but perhaps as a reminder that there is healing still to be found. God does not stir our hearts without a purpose. If He allows these dreams, perhaps it is because He wants to bring peace where there is pain, clarity where there is confusion, and reassurance where there is doubt. Or maybe that dream is a reminder of something beautiful. Maybe it is God's way of showing you that love does not die, that the bond you shared, the laughter, the moments, the memories, those are not gone. They are imprinted on your soul, carried with you, shaping who you are. And in that dream, God might be whispering, they are safe, they are with me, and one day you will see them again. My friends, what greater comfort could there be than that? I've spoken to so many who have had these dreams, and each time there is a moment when they pause, when their eyes soften, and they say, it felt so real. And I tell them, maybe because in a way it was. Maybe it wasn't just a memory replaying in their mind. Maybe it was a touch from the Father, a glimpse beyond the veil, a reminder that we are not alone, that we are loved, that eternity is real. But hear me on this. Dreams are never meant to replace God's Word. They are not meant to lead us away from truth, but to point us toward it. If you ever have a dream that stirs something in you, take it to the Lord. Ask Him, Father, what are you showing me? Because if it is from Him, it will always lead you toward peace, toward healing, toward a deeper trust in His promises. Some of you have been struggling with loss, with grief that seems to have no end. And maybe these dreams have left you wondering, is this just my pain speaking? My friend, let me tell you, God sees your pain. He knows your sorrow. And whether through a dream, through His Word, or through the gentle whisper of His Spirit, He is calling you to trust Him, to rest in Him, to know that nothing, not even death, can separate us from His love. So the next time you wake from a dream of someone you've lost, don't just brush it aside. Pray on it. Seek the Lord. Ask Him what He is showing you, because sometimes in the quiet of the night, He is speaking louder than we ever imagined. My friends, love is one of the greatest gifts God has given us. It is what binds us together, what gives life its deepest meaning. And if there is one thing I know to be true, it is this: love does not end when this life does. Love is eternal because God is love. When we lose someone we love, the world tells us they are gone, that the connection is broken, that time moves on and we must move with it. But in our hearts, we know that isn't true. We feel their presence in the quiet moments. We hear their laughter in old memories, and sometimes we even see them in our dreams. And what does that mean? Why does that happen? Is it simply the mind clinging to what was? Or could it be something greater, something beyond our understanding? I believe it is a reminder that love is not buried in a grave, that love does not fade into the past, that love, real love, is stronger than time, stronger than distance, stronger even than death itself. Some of you have dreamed of a loved one who has passed on, and when you woke up for a moment, you felt whole again. You felt them near, as if they had just stepped into the room, and maybe, just maybe, you didn't want to let go of that feeling. My friends, that is not just longing. That is love. And love is never lost. It lingers in the places they touched, in the lives they changed, in the hearts they left behind. God created us for relationship, for connection, for love. And because He is eternal, that love is eternal too. The world tells us to move on. But what does that really mean? Does it mean we forget? That we pack away the memories and pretend they never mattered? No, my friends, I don't believe that is what God wants for us. I believe He wants us to carry that love forward, to let it shape us, guide us, remind us that we are part of something greater than ourselves. When you dream of a loved one who has passed, maybe it is simply your heart's way of saying, I still love you. And maybe, just maybe, it is God's way of saying that love still matters. Some of you are holding on to grief like a heavy stone in your heart. You feel that if you let go of the pain, you are letting go of the person. But hear me, my friends, grief is not the proof of love. Love is the proof of love. The way you live, the way you honor their memory, the way you carry their kindness forward, the way you keep faith alive, even in the face of sorrow, that is the proof of love. And sometimes when we need it most, God allows us to see them again, even if just for a moment, in the quiet of a dream. I once spoke with a woman who had lost her husband after 50 years of marriage. She told me that every so often she would dream of him standing in the doorway of their home, smiling at her the way he always did. She said it was like God was reminding her, He is not lost. He is not gone. He is with me. And she would wake up not with sadness, but with peace. My friends, that is the power of love. That is the power of God's promise. We do not grieve as those who have no hope. We grieve with the assurance that one day we will see them again. And sometimes, before that day comes, God gives us glimpses, reminders that love does not die, that heaven is real, and that the bonds we share are never truly broken. Some of you have had these dreams and wondered if they meant something. Some of you have brushed them off, afraid to believe that maybe, just maybe, God was speaking to you through them. But let me tell you, if that dream left you with peace, if it filled your heart with warmth instead of fear, if it reminded you of the love that once was and still is, then don't be so quick to dismiss it. Because love is God's language, and He speaks it to us in many ways. So if you have dreamed of someone you've lost, don't see it as just a memory or just a dream. See it as a gift, a whisper from eternity, a reminder that love endures, that what was real is still real, that death does not have the final word. And most of all, see it as God's way of saying, you are not alone. My friends, life has a way of leaving us with unanswered questions, unfinished conversations, and moments we wish we could relive just one more time. When we lose someone we love, we often carry things in our hearts that we never got to say, things we never got to do. And sometimes in the quiet of the night, when the world is still and our hearts are open, we dream. And in those dreams, we see them again, we hear their voice, we feel their presence. And when we wake, we wonder, was that just a memory, or was it something more? I believe with all my heart that God is a God of peace. He knows the burdens we carry. He sees the grief that lingers long after the world expects us to move on. And because He loves us, He reaches out to comfort us in ways we do not always expect. Sometimes He speaks through His word. Sometimes He speaks through the kindness of a friend. And sometimes He speaks in the stillness of the night through a dream that settles our hearts and reminds us that He has not forgotten us. There are some of you here tonight who have been holding on to pain for a long time. Maybe you lost someone suddenly, and it felt like the world shifted beneath your feet. Maybe there were words left unspoken, words of love, words of regret, words you wish you could say now. And maybe, just maybe, you've had a dream where that loved one appeared not to haunt you, not to trouble you, but to bring peace, to remind you that all is well, to let you know that they are safe in the hands of the Lord. You see, my friends, God does not stir our hearts without purpose. He's not a God of confusion, but of clarity. And when He allows these dreams, perhaps it is His way of helping us let go of what weighs us down. Maybe that dream was not just a dream. Maybe it was an answer to the prayer you never spoke aloud. Maybe it was His way of saying, my child, release the sorrow, release the regret. You are forgiven. They are at peace, and I am with you. I once spoke with a man who had been carrying guilt over his father's passing for years. He told me if I had only called him that night, if I had only been there, if I had only done more. And then one night he dreamed of his father. In the dream, his father smiled at him, reached out his hand and said, son, it's all right. You don't have to carry this anymore. When he woke up, the weight on his heart was lighter. The pain was still there, but the guilt was gone. My friends, that is what the peace of God does. It does not erase the past, but it heals the wound. It does not take away the memory, but it takes away the fear that comes with it. And sometimes He uses our dreams to remind us of that truth. Maybe you've had a dream like that. Maybe you've seen a loved one smiling at you, speaking words of comfort, appearing in a way that felt so real it could not have been just your imagination. And when you woke up, something inside you changed. That, my friends, is the work of God, because He knows what we need even when we do not. But hear me on this. God does not use dreams to replace His word. He does not use dreams to lead us away from His truth. If you ever have a dream that fills you with fear, if you ever have a dream that pulls you away from the peace of Christ, then you must take that dream to the Lord and ask, Father, is this from you? Because anything from God will always bring peace. Anything from God will always draw you closer to Him. And anything from God will remind you that you are loved, that you are seen, and that He is in control. Some of you here tonight have been searching for closure. You've been asking God for a sign, for a moment of reassurance, for something to settle the ache in your heart. And maybe, just maybe, He has already answered you. Maybe He has already whispered peace into your soul. Maybe He has already shown you in the quiet of a dream that everything is in His hands. So the next time you wake from a dream of someone you've lost and you feel that gentle sense of peace wash over you, do not dismiss it. Do not call it coincidence. Thank the Lord for it, because He is the God who sees, He is the God who comforts, and He is the God who brings peace where there was once only sorrow. My friends, every single one of us is walking a path. Some of us are walking with confidence, knowing where we are going, while others feel lost, uncertain of the road ahead. Life is full of moments that shape us, decisions that define us, and experiences that change the way we see the world. And sometimes, when we dream of someone who has passed on, it is not just a memory playing in our minds, it is a moment of reflection, a moment when our souls are searching for something deeper. Have you ever had a dream that made you stop and think? A dream that stirred something inside you that made you question the way you've been living? Maybe it was a dream of a loved one looking at you with eyes full of wisdom, as if they had something to say. Maybe they spoke words that echoed in your heart long after you woke up. And maybe, just maybe, that dream was not just for comfort. It was a call to change, a call to grow, a call to realign your life with what truly matters. God does not waste anything. He does not stir our hearts for no reason. And when we dream of those who have gone before us, perhaps He is using that moment to remind us of something important. Maybe He is asking us to take a closer look at our lives, to ask ourselves, are we living in a way that honors the love we once shared? Are we carrying on the legacy of faith, of kindness, of strength that they left behind? Or have we drifted, letting the busyness of life pull us away from the things that truly matter? I once spoke with a man who had a dream about his mother, a woman of deep faith who had spent her life in prayer. In the dream, she was sitting at the kitchen table, just like she always did, reading her Bible. She looked up at him, and with tears in her eyes, she said, "Son, I've been praying for you." He told me that when he woke up, it shook him, because he knew he had wandered far from God. He knew he had been running from the faith that his mother had so dearly held on to. And that dream was a wake-up call. It was God's way of reminding him that the prayers of the faithful do not fade, that the foundation of faith his mother had built was still there, waiting for him to return. Maybe some of you have had a dream like that. Maybe you've seen someone who once guided you, who once spoke truth into your life, and their presence in your dream made you stop and think about the path you're on. And I want to tell you, don't ignore that moment. Don't brush it aside, because maybe, just maybe, that dream is God's way of calling you back, calling you to remember the things that matter, calling you to reflect on the choices you've been making. You see, my friends, life moves so fast. We get caught up in the day-to-day and the responsibilities and the distractions, and before we know it, we've drifted far from where we were meant to be. But God is always calling us home, sometimes through a sermon, sometimes through a conversation, sometimes through a quiet whisper in our hearts, and yes, sometimes even through a dream. Some of you here tonight have been feeling restless. You've been feeling a stirring in your soul, but you don't know what it means. Maybe you've been remembering a dream you had of someone who has passed, and it lingers in your mind as if there is something left unsaid. My friends, ask yourself, what is God showing me? What is He asking me to see? Because He does not stir the heart without purpose. And if He has allowed that dream, if He has placed that moment in your life, then perhaps He is trying to tell you something. The Bible tells us to examine our hearts, to reflect on our ways, to seek first the kingdom of God. And if the presence of a loved one in a dream has caused you to pause, then take that moment seriously. Maybe God is reminding you of the faith they lived by, the love they shared, the wisdom they spoke. Maybe He is calling you to carry on their legacy, to live in a way that honors what they stood for. Maybe He is asking you to return to Him, to seek Him, to walk with Him once more. So, the next time you wake from a dream that stirs your soul, don't just forget it, pray on it, reflect on it. Ask the Lord what He is showing you, because maybe, just maybe, that dream is not just a memory, it's an invitation to become who God is calling you to be. My friends, one of the greatest truths we hold on to as believers is that death is not the end. The world tells us that when someone is gone, they are gone forever, that life moves forward and we must simply learn to live without them. But deep down, we know that isn't true. Deep down, we feel the pull of eternity. The whisper in our souls that tells us love does not simply disappear, that life does not end in the grave. And sometimes in the quiet moments of the night, when our minds are at rest and our hearts are open, we catch a glimpse of that truth. We dream of those who have gone before us. We see their faces. We hear their voices. And for a brief moment, it's as if the distance between this world and the next disappears. When you dream of someone who has passed on, there is a reason it feels so real. There is a reason it lingers in your heart, stirring something deep inside of you. Because eternity is real. And the love that was shared in this life does not simply fade away. The Bible tells us that God has placed eternity in the hearts of men. That deep within us, we know that this life is not all there is. And when we dream of a loved one, perhaps God is reminding us of that truth. Perhaps He is giving us a glimpse, just a glimpse, of the greater reality that awaits beyond this world. I have spoken to so many who have had these dreams, and time again, they say the same thing. It felt like they were really there. And my friends, I believe that's because, in a way, they are. Not in the sense that they are wandering this earth, not in the sense that they are reaching out from the beyond, but in the sense that their love, their presence, their impact on our lives, it is not gone, it is not erased, and God in His goodness allows us these moments as a reminder that they are not lost, that we are not alone, that there is more beyond this life than we can possibly imagine. There was a woman I once met who had lost her sister to illness. The pain of that loss weighed on her every single day. But one night, she dreamed of her sister standing in the most beautiful place she had ever seen. Her sister looked at her with joy, with peace, with a light in her eyes that could only come from the presence of the Lord. And she said to her, "I am home, I am safe, and I will see you again." When she woke up, the sorrow was still there, but it was different, because now she had a reminder that the story was not over, that one day there would be a reunion, one day there would be no more goodbyes. My friends, this is the hope we hold on to. This is the promise that carries us through the darkest nights. We do not grieve as those who have no hope, because we know that Jesus has conquered the grave. We know that this life is only the beginning, that there is a day coming when every tear will be wiped away, when every pain will be healed, when those we have lost in Christ will be reunited with us forever. And maybe, just maybe, God allows us to dream of them from time to time as a way of reminding us of that promise, as a way of saying, hold on, keep the faith, the story isn't over yet. I don't know what dreams you have had. I don't know what moments have stirred your heart in the quiet of the night, but I do know this. If you have dreamed of a loved one, and that dream has filled you with peace instead of fear, if it has reminded you of love instead of loss, then do not dismiss it. Do not call it just a dream, because God is always speaking. He is always working, and sometimes He uses even the stillness of the night to remind us of what is true. Some of you have been struggling with grief for a long time. You have wondered if your loved ones are truly at peace. You have questioned if there is really something beyond this life. My friends, let me tell you, there is. There is a home that has been prepared. There is a place where suffering does not exist. And for those who belong to Christ, that home is waiting. That place of joy, that place of reunion, that place where love is never lost, that is the reality that awaits. And sometimes in His mercy, God gives us glimpses. Sometimes He lets us feel, even for just a moment, the truth that they are not gone forever. So if you have ever woken from a dream of someone you love, feeling the warmth of their presence, feeling the peace of knowing they are near, do not be afraid, do not doubt. Thank the Lord for that moment. Let it be a reminder that love does not end, that eternity is real, that we are all walking toward a day when every loss will be restored, when every separation will be erased, when every sorrow will be turned into joy. And when that day comes, my friends, it will not be just a dream, it will be forever. My friends, Every single one of us is walking a journey that leads somewhere. This life is not random, and it is not without purpose. We were created by a loving God who knows the number of our days, who has written a story for each of us, and who has placed eternity in our hearts. And whether we recognize it or not, everything in this life is leading us toward that eternal destination. The moments of joy, the moments of sorrow, the moments of love, and yes, even the moments when we dream of those who have gone before us, each one is a reminder that there is more beyond what we see. There are some who believe that when this life ends, that is all there is. That everything we were, everything we did, simply vanishes like a vapor in the wind. But my friends, that is not what God tells us. That is not the truth written on our hearts. If you have ever stood at the bedside of a loved one as they took their final breath, if you have ever laid someone to rest and felt the ache of that goodbye, then you know deep down, this is not the end. There is more. There must be more, because love does not simply stop existing. The soul does not simply fade away, and the longing in our hearts for reunion, for eternity, for something beyond this world, that longing is not an accident. It is God's way of calling us home. Some of you have had dreams that left you with a sense of something greater. You have seen a loved one standing in the light, smiling at you with a peace that words cannot describe. You have felt a presence in the stillness of the night, a whisper in your heart telling you that they are not lost, that they are not gone forever. And when you woke up, something inside of you knew that the dream was more than just a memory. It was a reminder, a glimpse of eternity, a call to remember what truly matters. God does not give us these moments just to comfort us, though He is a God of comfort. He does not allow us to feel the nearness of eternity just to ease our sorrow, though He is near to the brokenhearted. No, my friends, He allows us these moments because He is calling us to something greater. He is reminding us that this life is not all there is. He is showing us that we too are on a path, and one day we will reach the end of this journey. And the question each of us must answer is this: where will that journey take us? Some of you have been feeling a stirring in your soul. You have been wondering what it all means. You have been thinking about the loved ones you have lost, about the dreams you have had, about the weight in your heart that tells you there is more. And my friends, I want to tell you, God is speaking to you. He is drawing you closer. He is reminding you that eternity is real, that heaven is real, that the choices we make in this life matter. I once spoke with a man who had lived most of his life running from God. He told me, I didn't think much about heaven or hell. I didn't think much about what came after this life. I was just living for myself, trying to enjoy what I could while I was here. But then one night, he had a dream. In the dream, he saw his grandmother, a woman of faith who had prayed for him all her life. She looked at him with eyes full of love, but also with a quiet sadness, and she simply said, "It's time to come home." He woke up in tears, because in that moment he realized that God was calling him back, that he had spent so many years chasing after the things of this world, but none of it had filled the emptiness inside him. That dream was not just a dream, it was an invitation to turn back to the God who had never stopped loving him. Maybe some of you have been feeling that same call. Maybe you have been drifting, unsure of where you stand. Maybe you have been carrying the weight of loss, the ache of missing someone you love, and you don't know what to do with that pain. My friends, let me tell you, God is near. He is not far away, and He is speaking to you even now through His Word, through His Spirit, through the gentle reminders that this life is not the end. The dreams we have, the moments when we feel the nearness of those we have lost, the whispers of eternity that stir in our souls. These are not accidents. They are God's way of reminding us that we were made for more, that we were made for Him. And one day, for those who place their trust in Him, there will be no more separation, no more sorrow, no more goodbyes, only the joy of reunion, the peace of eternity, the love that never fades. So I ask you tonight,